Hello everyone, thought I would share what I learned about getting the MIDI messages out of Logic to use those to control Logic with an Arduino type device, one of our controllers. So if you start out by opening Logic and go to Logic Pro, Preferences, Control Surfaces, and then Setup, you can basically see a drop down of all the different control surfaces that we can emulate. So if we go to New, Install, we'll see a large list of controllers. And basically the idea is all of these controllers have support for Logic, or actually are supported in Logic, and if we can send the same messages as these controllers and have Logic configured to that controller, then we can basically control Logic. And Logic thinks that it is actually hooked up to one of these expensive control surfaces. So I'm just going to select this J.L. Cooper CS32, which was actually a pretty good one because it has simple messages and it has a lot of different common control things that we need to do. And it's actually a 32 channel mixer, so there's a lot of channels if we need them. So if you click Add, it actually goes ahead and adds the device. We can go ahead and close that, and in fact we can see it right here in the setup. It's actually installed, so we can close that, and then go to Logic Pro, Preferences, Control Surfaces, then go to Controller Assignments. Now here's where we'll see all the specific functions and what MIDI messages that are associated with those. So for for transport commands and such, like stop and rewind and all those, we can select one. I'll start by selecting just play. And if we look over here, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. We have this, the parameters, and really what's of interest is this right here. This is the actual MIDI message that performs the play function. So if we send out this message and have Logic set up for this particular device, our Arduino sends this message and play will actually start in Logic. I'll just explain real quick. If you've looked at MIDI messages at all, there's a certain format, and what we're looking at is hex values, and this basically means this is this first byte is BE, means that it's a control change on channel 15, MIDI channel 15, and then it's just particular values. You have 4C, which is the hex value for the decimal 76, and then the final byte is this low 7, and what that means is the lower 7 significant bits of that byte. So basically, as long as our message is formatted BE4C, and any value that is the lower 7 significant bits, so basically 0 through 127 decimal, we will get what we expect, which is the play will actually be initiated. And the other thing is when we actually come in and we want to use these functions, we need to select the right MIDI input from our MIDI device. I'm using a MIDI Sport, and I'm actually using the MIDI input from the A channel, so that's why I'll choose A here. And so that's pretty much it for that, and I'll just go ahead and zoom back out. And so we've looked at play. Now let's look at an argument that basically is going to be somewhat variable. Play is pretty much just you hit play and it starts. But if we want to control something like a fader, we need to pass a value. So if we want to control fader 1, we'll come in and I'll zoom back in. Okay, so for this one, we'll go ahead and enable the input. We see that the value change is this BF00 low 7. So we can copy that and basically low 7 is going to represent the value on the slider, 0 being the lowest value and 127 being the highest, basically 2 to the 7 minus 1. So I'll actually zoom back out, and we're going to use this information to create sort of a mock class. And so if you're actually going to create your own code in Arduino for your device, it might be a good idea to create a header file that corresponds to the particular device you're emulating, and have some, let me see, zoom back in, and to have a particular function that corresponds to that action. So if I, in my Arduino code, want to play, I should just be able to load the header that corresponds to the device I'm emulating and just say play when the user hits a button. When I catch an event on the Arduino, I should just call play and it'll basically have the right format. So in the first case, I don't know if you remember, but it was BE4C and then it was low 7. I just decided to use 0, 1 here. It could have been 0, 0 or all the way up to 127 decimal. Be aware that you have to format this in hex, so that's why you see the 0x, and then it also says byte here. But like I said, with fader, we're going to have to send a value. So we actually pass an argument, level, which we basically, from our code, we determine that we want to send a particular level. So we do similar thing, but instead of having a specified value, we basically send the message with the level being variable. So we could keep calling this, and if somebody is controlling a slider, level would change and we would send a slightly different message to control that fader. Well, I think that's about it. Actually, this message is not BE, so I just copied and pasted it. So this is the actual message, so we would have to change that to BF 0, 0. And since it's low 7, we can send anything from 0 to 127 to represent. So this would be sort of two functions in our class to control a JL Cooper CS32. So I think that hopefully it's clear. If not, you guys can ask me questions about it, and hopefully we can come up with some kind of framework for each of our controllers. All right, thank you.